So let's look at a bit more detail for each of these groups. I want to first orient you a bit to these slides. We'll move through them fairly quickly, but I just want to orient you to them. So across the slide, across the top, we're starting with our lower functioning group, our limited to no change group, and moving across to the right and then down to our highest functioning group on the bottom right. In each figure, the darkest color shading will be the highest level for that measure that we're talking about. The lightest shading will be the lowest level for that. And each figure will show you proportions of each of those dynamics for whatever measure we're looking at. So in this particular slide, we're looking at the proportion of patients in the top, middle, and bottom third on the slums cognitive measure. And a couple of things to highlight: there are patients across all three of those subcategories on the slums in all of the patient groups, with more of our patients moving into that medium category, that middle category in our yellow and our red group, which again are our lower functioning patients. Let's look at prior living situation. You can just kind of glance at the figure to see, do these circles kind of look the same or do they look different? And when I glance at them, I see a lot of similarity between our green group and our blue group. The yellow and the red group kind of look similar to each other, but they're a little bit different than the other three. And what we're showing here is, again, the proportion of patients who are, prior to coming into skilled nursing, living at home in the darkest color, assisted living in the middle, and long-term care in the lightest color. But let's look at what happens by discharge. Now our groups start looking quite a bit different from one another compared to their relative similarity at baseline. Still, our highest functioning and lowest functioning at admission, but change a lot groups, our two green groups, are looking fairly similar to one another. By the time here we see our non-ambulatory group having fewer patients discharging to home. But I want to really draw your attention to our limited to no change group, this red group. Here you're seeing less than half of these patients are discharging to home. And what I would say is that it's a pretty good likelihood for these individuals, and we can identify these at evaluation. We can pretty much say it's a strong likelihood that these patients will discharge to a setting that requires a higher level of care than they were in prior to coming into skilled nursing.